So fast forward, I think after the semester ended, I came home and I was really passionate about wanting to model. And I remember my parents were not having it. And I remember at the time, Dad was currently married to someone, and they were both pretty much like, no, like you need to like focus on school. You don't need to be modeling. Oh, so I got enrolled into a community college in my area, and I was going, but I wasn't really wanting to be there. I was just there. And I remember one day after school, my dad and his ex-wife had driven me to a random parking lot, and then they stopped and they were like, okay, so what do you want? They turned around and they like kind of like ambushed me, and I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. But they were like, so what do you want to do? Don't tell me modeling. What are you trying to do with your life? And they just kept saying, don't say modeling. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know. So I think I had told them that I wanted to model. So they said, don't say that. So I didn't know what to say. It was really awkward. I had no choice but continue going to school. I think fast forward, I ended up moving out, and I tried to go to different casting calls and stuff in my area. I reached out to different photographers to do photo shoots and stuff. What really started before that, so as soon as I came back, I think this was like November 2016. I remember I was going through hashtags because I'd figured out that that's how you could find people in your area to collaborate. I kept Googling how to become a model, and I read through all the articles I could find on Google. How to become a model. Then it said build your portfolio. So I'm like, okay, how do I build my portfolio? I went through and read through all the different articles that I found. It was time consuming, but I figured that, like what they wanted. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't have a portfolio. Didn't have any work to show. And so I kept doing research some more, and then I think somehow I found something about collaboration. So I was like, okay, what's collaboration? So I had to look through some more articles. And I remember going on Instagram, and I went through like different hashtags, and I found a makeup artist that was in my area, and she just kept popping up. Like there was a ton in my area, but no, I take that back. Not that many. There was quite a few, but like not like a lot compared to like LA. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, I would love to collaborate. By the way, I had no professional pictures on my page. I think the most I had was like cell phone stuff. Like I wish I still had that account to find to show you guys. She originally said no, of course, because like I had nothing to offer. I was new. I hadn't modeled before. I had never done anything, so there really was no reason. And so after a while, I continued following her, engaging with her content. And so finally one day she reached out. She was like, hey, you know what? I've been thinking, and you look like you've been putting a lot of work in, and I'm going to give you a chance. She said, you know what? I'll come do your makeup. So this woman drove to Lancaster to come do my makeup, and that would have been like a 3-hour drive, and didn't charge me because, to be honest, she saw the potential in the work that I was doing or the effort that I was putting in, and she appreciated that. And I remember being blown away by that because I remember reaching out to people, and people were quoting me their prices, and which is fine, but I also didn't have any money, so that really wasn't, something I could do at that time. And so we collaborated on that. She did my makeup, and she had written a little cute paragraph about how she saw the potential, and she just felt the need to work with me, and I appreciate her for that because she didn't have to. And so, like I said, I had zero experience, so there was really no reason to work with me. And so after that, we had built a relationship over time, and I started hiring her to do my makeup for different photo shoots and stuff when I was starting out. And I remember there was a couple of photographers that were really helpful with starting my portfolio, because in addition to the ones that I met on campus, but as far as like professional photographers that were actually working in the industry. I think after doing research, typed in modeling on like Facebook, I typed it in on Instagram, and I kept looking and adding whatever pages and people that I saw associated with the modeling industry because I didn't know anything. I was like, where can I find? So I started reaching out to like every photographer I could find to see who would be willing to collaborate. IO as well for taking the time to shoot with me. And once again, these were people that saw potential in me for some reason because I didn't have anything going on at that time. And I'll find some of those photos to attach in the video as well about, the pictures that I took when I started. Because like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't model. I couldn't pose. I wasn't experienced, and I think I was just happy to be there. And I remember, like I said, trying to reach out to different makeup artists, and nobody, felt like it was I wasn't worth working with because I didn't have anything going on at the time. By the way, I didn't have this specific look. My hair was a lot longer, and then I was experimenting with different wigs and stuff. yeah, my hair was like shoulder length and like bra strap length. We went through like a couple different phases, or I went through a couple of different phases at that time. So nobody really felt like there was anything special about my look. But anyways, fast forward, as I started working with new photographers and stuff, like I said, reaching out to different people in my area. At the time, I wasn't looking at quality because I didn't know anything about quality. Just saying, because, you know, a lot of the work now I feel like was not related to what I do now. But I had reached out to a lot of different photographers in both like Lancaster, Palmdale, Los Angeles, and I reached out to a ton of different people asking who might be willing to collaborate. I saw different groups on Facebook. They had like LA models and photographers groups and stuff like that. And so through talking to different people and reaching out to different people, I was able to semi-build my portfolio, but at least get experience in front of the camera. Now these pictures are not necessarily useful just because they're not reflective of my current look. And that's another thing. Your pictures have to be up to date with your current sizing, your current hairstyle. Like the pictures have to look like you currently. And obviously those pictures don't look like me anymore. Trying to really just get into modeling. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know about beauty modeling. I didn't know about fashion modeling. I pretty much just reaching out to whatever photographers or makeup artists I could find and just saying, hey, if you ever need a model, I'm interested. Designer, same thing. If you ever need a model, I'm interested. The first like semi-major thing that I can remember that I did, back when I did have longer hair, there was a hairstylist in LA and he had coordinated a magazine shoot for a magazine called California Stylist Magazine. So it's like a stylist paper, newspaper magazine thing. And I think that was like my first publication. And so that was something that was major to me. I remember at the time my mom, she was just like, how do you know this is legit? She was kind of like not sure about it, but I convinced her to let me go to that. But that's one memory I have, and I'll attach a photo of that in here as well. Also before that, I'd seen a casting on like Facebook or something where they needed models for like a fashion show. And I remember I had been really nervous about it, and it was in Anaheim. Anaheim's like 2 hours from Lancaster, so at the time I had no car. I didn't have money to get down there, but I somehow had convinced my dad to drive me to get to that. I think there was like a casting call, then I got the thing. Well, no, when I got the message that I was selected for it, it was funny because my dad was like, this can't be, like he pretty much assumed it was gonna be fake, because like why would Brittany from Lancaster be selected for a fashion show? Somehow I convinced him to let me go. He brought me and he saw that it was a legit show, and he was actually shocked because I'm like, okay, there was a full hair and makeup team at the time. It was held at the one of the hotels in Anaheim. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Marriott. But it was, you know, they have the ballrooms at those different hotels and stuff like that. So anyways, that was my first show. I'll probably either attach a link to that below or include photos of that. I think I'll probably include some screenshots from that. But that was the first, like, one of the first things as well that, like, I think helped start my career with modeling. Because like I said, with being on these different shows, you get to meet different makeup artists and stuff. Not saying all shows are helpful, but this one was good because I feel like it was a great way to connect with makeup artists. Some of them were students, but got some cool pictures out of that, and met some other models, and through other models I met people that they've worked with. And so you kind of just keep building, and you build and build and build by connecting your web of people that you've connected with in the network, in the industry. You grow your network, and that's with any job field. Then for years I wanted to be signed to an agency, but at the time I wasn't liking how any of my pictures were printing out. I wanted a physical portfolio, but every time I went to Staples, like FedEx, or places that print out your photos, none of my pictures were coming out cute. So like the paper that they were printing it on was terrible. I just didn't like any of my pictures, and I was being too picky. I also didn't know what pictures to put on there. So pretty much over the course of time, I kind of just wasted 5 years. I was still getting opportunities and stuff, but I didn't have an agency, so everything I was doing was freelance. There was a couple different like casting websites that I was able to sign up on and get little bits of work here and there. You know, background for music videos, some smaller commercial work, background for shows and stuff like that. LAcasting.com is a great platform to find, you know, work to start out, both commercial work. They have short film stuff, music videos, modeling stuff. There's a lot of different categories on there, television. And then they range from like unpaid to different prices and stuff like that, but you do have to pay. There is a fee of, I think it's like $25 to sign up, but you do have to pay. You're better off paying for the one where you can add all your, I think it's the premium version, you can add all your photos on there, because if not, it's $25 for the first photo and then $15 for every additional. So you're better off just paying for the premium, and then you can switch and add as many photos as you want. So like, for example, if they want a ballerina and you have a ballerina picture, but you only have one picture up because you chose the lower one, then you can't change your photos. So you want to have the updated or the premium version so you can add whatever photos you want on there. And trust me, that was a lifesaver, because for example, I think at this point now I have done most types of shoots. So if someone's like, ooh, we need a girl at a picnic, I have pictures of that. Or we need a girl in activewear. So I can always mix and match and add photos for that. I think my first agency found me on LA Casting, I think. And the reason why they had scouted me at the time is because I had cut my hair off, and it was probably around this length that it is now when I started. And I remember them reaching out via email, and I was like, there's no way this is legit. In my mind, I'm like, this is probably not them. So I had to double check the email, and it was. And at the time, they were looking for models with my specific look. So, most agencies have specific criteria that they're trying to meet for the demographics they're trying to cover. They're like, okay, well, we want somebody with curly hair. So they try to fill their bubbles. So for example, if they want a fair complected model, they might need a redhead, a brunette, a blonde. And then for deeper complected models, they might want lighter complected or deeper complected. But then they want people with long hair, they want people with short hair. They can have different options to submit to their clients. So typically when a agency is submitting models to a job, they have a PDF file of photos from that specific model, and they submit them to the different companies that either might be looking for that specific look, or they pitch them to different companies, and that's how they are able to submit. So pretty much I was able to sign with my first agency because they did scout me. Over time, I was able to work with bigger companies because of them. I appreciate that. I did have a couple companies I was working with before that, but a lot of the major campaigns like Sephora, a lot of my beauty work and my e-com work came from them. So I am thankful for them as well. So if you guys are looking to sign with an agency, let's get to that. On most agency websites, they do have a submission tab, and they include all the information on what they're looking for. So they'll tell you what they're looking for. So like for example, there are a couple agencies that you have to be 5'9" to model at. To be honest, I'm 5'7", but I know for a while I did have to say I was 5'8" because nobody wanted to work with a 5'7" model. Even for these fashion shows that are collaborative. People are like, hey, I love your look, but you might be too short. And so I kept getting turned down from everything. And so finally someone was like, just lie. And I'm like, oh no, can't lie. But it made a difference because most people can't eyeball that 1 inch, but it depends. Agencies might be able to. But, if it's a designer that's randomly casting for something and they're looking for a specific look, they may not be able to. So it really just depends, honestly. But anyways, when you go to a website, they're gonna have, I know I've looked at some of the websites, some of them don't really include, but they might have a contact email. But you need digitals, you need pictures of you with no makeup on. And if you're a woman, you need a tank top and jeans, black tank top and jeans. And I know there's mixed reviews. Some people say you can't, and sometimes you have to some people say they have to be taken professionally, but I think it depends on the individual. If you know how to take good pictures, then you can take your own photos. But they say either light makeup or none at all. I mean, most of mine, I had no makeup at all just because I didn't have time. And that's another thing, when brands are asking your agent for pictures of you right that second, what if you don't have makeup on, but they're like, we need a picture of you ASAP. So for example, when my agency first hit me up about being considered for Sephora, I was out Instacarting. I had other job or gigs at the time that I was working on to try to earn extra money, and I have extra gigs now, but at the time I was doing Instacart and stuff like that. And I remember they were like, hey, we need a picture of you right now with no makeup. And I'm like, shoot, I don't have my tripod with me. I had a full face of makeup on. I think I probably had a wig on that day too. There was a lot going on. But each time they reached out, it was right that second. So if someone's asking for a picture of you right that second for a specific, thing, you have to be willing or able to knock it out, especially with self-tapes and stuff like that.